Salute to you all, the brave never fall. I'm Coach MJD Tiger, life coach and mentor. Helping others find their passion and purpose is my passion and purpose. And if no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Welcome to Visions. The grass you're standing on is green enough, and there's no doubt it's real. The grass on the other side of the fence may look better. However, there's a chance that grass is actually turf. Which will stand the test of time? Real or fake? Genuine or imitation? That is a question we have to ask ourselves practically every day about everything that we have, from people, places, and things. Are we satisfied? Is it good enough? Is it something we can build on? Is it a relationship we can grow? Is it a place that will stand the test of time? Or are we fixated on what could possibly be on the other side of that fence just to find out it don't and won't serve us? That's up for each of us to decide. But that decision has long-term consequences, so we have to choose wisely. The book recommendation I am happy to share with you is Reaching for the Stars by Jose M. Hernandez. This is an amazing story about a kid who dreamed of being an astronaut, and not only going through all the ups and downs, all the failures, countless failures. You won't believe how many failures he had to become not only an astronaut, his dream, but he is also the first Mexican American astronaut. He overcame so much. The life stories and the humbleness and what this story teaches you about literally going beyond yourself, and the sky is not the limit, to do and be whoever you want. This book is so inspiring. This guy is such a likable person. It's amazing. I recommend this book so much. Reaching for the Stars. You'll love this guy. Check it out. How are you feeling? How are you feeling mentally, within your mind? How are you feeling physically, within your body? How are you feeling emotionally, within your heart? How are you feeling spiritually, within your soul? These are questions I ask myself every morning, throughout the day, and before I close my eyes for peaceful and powerful sleep every single night. And I ask you, in this moment, take this time, a moment of silence for yourself, to ask yourself, how are you feeling mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually? How are you feeling? You are beyond the crossroads threshold moments of your life. Some of the most challenging things you have already gone through, overcome, and learned from has made you wiser, stronger. Now use that momentum. Push forward with it. Understand that now that you've been through what you've been through before, you're equipped to go through anything. You are. Visions, Episode 11, Be a Secure Base of Reassurance. As we build our blueprints of life, as we examine every inch of who we are internally and externally, as we cultivate and secure healthy boundaries for ourselves, strong morals, values, principles for ourselves, we have to remember one important thing. It is not okay to go forward knowing that there are parts of us that need to be examined even further, that there are parts of us that don't serve others and we're ignoring them because they serve us. Self-love is not equal to selfishness. There are things that we do every single day that the people around us who are closest to us expect out of us, and we expect certain things out of them. But ask yourself, would you want to be around someone who has a very high and elevated sense of self-importance? Someone who has just an extreme sense of entitlement, that everything, every person, every place around them, it's for them first, everyone second. The type of people that need constant praise and admiration. They need to move forward with each moment, knowing that they have something in their back pocket to essentially use as a weapon against you with guilt and shame. They demean others. They intimidate. They bully. They belittle. What I've essentially just outlined is someone who has symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder. Now, a lot of those things that I just named off, we all are guilty of some of those traits at certain points in our lives. There's no doubt about that. But that's where the microscope comes in. That's when the examination takes place. That's when the tests are being performed on ourselves. Are these things something that we carry around without even knowing it? Oftentimes it takes other people to wake us up to the fact that we are entitled, that we have and do often guilt and shame people, that we have an overinflated sense of self-importance, that we essentially live in an illusion world where everything is in our control, and everyone in our lives is just a person to be toyed with. And these are things, when we're building our blueprints, we have to be aware of. Those traits, those are things that go against, this is me. And if you're anything like me, those traits will go against every single boundary you have. It is the complete opposite of what the Brave Never Fall is about, in every sense of the words. Self-love means you love yourself enough and respect yourself enough, and you're secure with yourself enough that you can give your own self reassurance that those traits have no place in your life. And why is that important? Because if we have those, guess what? We will attract those. And when we attract them, we have to take ownership of the fact that we can't complain, because we are that. Again, I'll ask you, would you want to be around someone who has a high sense of self-importance, supports their delusions of grandeur, needs constant praise and admiration, sense of entitlement, exploits others with guilt or shame, frequently demeans, intimidates, bullies, or belittles others, And I'm going to this narcissistic personality disorder framework because it is, again, we're talking about self-love. We're talking about building a secure base of reassurance for ourselves so we can be that secure base of reassurance for those who truly deserve a spot in our lives, and we truly deserve a spot in their lives. It's giving. That's what this is about, giving. And all of those traits are about taking. We don't want to take all the time. We want to earn, not take. We want to give, not ignore. We want to be better. The people that we love in our lives, the people we say are so special, is it more important to be a person who's taking all the time and growing through taking, or to be a person who is a secure base of reassurance for those people that we are their rock and their mountain? And through empathy, we understand what they're going through and we will support them, but we will not cross our boundaries into a plane that is not suited for us. We won't cross over that fence into some area where those type of things are present. Being self-centered, how do you grow from that? How do we learn from self-centered people, arrogant people, people who have absolutely zero to very little empathy, that they have absolutely no consideration for other people? It's very hard to build upon those things, but the crazy thing about it is that it's very hard to identify within ourselves. A lot of those traits, if we think about what we do throughout the day, I'm sure there are moments throughout the day where we all have moments where we are lacking a bit of empathy, that we're being more self-centered than walking with self-love, that we're looking for attention, we're looking for admiration. Those things can become habit. They can become ritual. Building the blueprints of life, for me, it's something that I believe is not about worrying about what we can get from other people. The blueprints of life, for me, and what I believe we all should be doing in life, is worrying about ourselves in very healthy, positive ways. And if we have truly found our passion, if we have truly found our purpose, those traits, and again, we're not focusing on, this isn't a narcissism episode. I use those as an example of how easily those lines can be blurred when we're building our blueprints of who we are. When we have moments where we can change something or evolve and grow, it is very, very easy to grow in the wrong direction. It starts off innocent. It starts off with love. It ends up very manipulative and out of self-entitlement. It's very easy to get there because we're saying, hey, I'm doing this for me. I'm making sure that I'm watching out for me. But we forget that we have to earn the respect of others. We have to earn the trust of others. Not a privilege. Not a right. We have to start earning. We have to look at it as in, we don't have anything. We'll get to what the rights and the privileges are, but at first we have to earn our own trust. We have to trust that we're able to be disciplined enough to do the things we say we're going to do for ourselves. And how can we do that if we're so focused on what we can get from others when we're not ready to even give to ourselves? And when we start that way, a lot of those traits, they have a whole new sense of meaning when we realize we don't want to be the person that we wouldn't want to hang out with, that we wouldn't want to spend time with, that we wouldn't want to be in a relationship with, that we wouldn't want to be friends with, that we wouldn't want to be in a family with, in a work environment with, in a church environment with. We're constantly, as people, as human beings, we all do this, where we point out the flaws in other people. We judge and we look and we're people watching, and whoa, what if you focus all that energy on yourself? That is something that I thought was a tremendous asset in me trying to build the blueprints of life, where everything that you do towards other people, for other people, you examine them and you ask yourself a very simple question. How can I gain more empathy by examining who I am first and worrying about others later? If I know who I am, I suddenly have eyes that look at the world differently. There's no need for me to judge other people. There's no need for me to be around people I don't have to be around. I have a choice every single day. What type of person do I want to be? Do I want to walk with purpose, but have this hypocritical attitude of, yeah, I'm walking with my purpose, but I also have this other side of me that I'm keeping to myself because for some reason I really don't want to focus on it. I know it's not great. I know if it was somebody else, I wouldn't want to hang out with them, but for me, it's okay. That has to be exhausting. That has to be absolutely exhausting to go through each day, knowing that for every person that you meet, for every situation that you're in, you're looking for what you can take from that person instead of what you can give. It's very important every single day that we start off with focusing on what we can give. And I also tell people this all the time. The easiest thing you can give someone is a smile. And if we start internally, what's the easiest thing you can do to start your day off for yourself? With a smile. I actually talk about that a lot. I'll add in the description below the podcast, the Affirmation podcast I did on smiling. And I'll also add in the podcast I did, go down to the link below of what I've talked about, the power of laughter in one of my podcasts. Happiness is if you want it. You know, sometimes we are forced to be with people who aren't in the happiest place, and that's expected. This world isn't the nicest place. Oftentimes it's not. And those who can smile through that darkness, you know, there's that quote that says, and I'm paraphrasing, the person who lights a lamp for another also lights their own way, and vice versa. If we are giving to others, we benefit. We will always benefit. That one smile towards the right person could start a relationship that is unexplainable. Listening to someone to understand when they really need you to just listen and not have your feedback and not agree with you 100% can change that person's whole perception of you. To go about life each and every day looking to give than receiving, people pick up on that. And I've noticed that. That is one of the biggest things I've changed in my life, is that being selfish, manipulative, controlling, none of that serves us. You get nothing. It just sets you back. And again, it's exhausting. What does it matter if somebody agrees with every freaking thing you believe in? What does it matter what somebody thinks, how you look with your clothing, or what car you drive, or what house you live in? In the end, it really doesn't matter. I say this a lot. If you were stripped down to Adam and Eve mode and you're just standing there butt naked with leaves over your groins, nothing else, who are you? Who are you? Stripped of all this material stuff, stripped of all the accolades and all the money and all that, gone. Who are you? And who you are, if you can meet someone exactly like you, would you want to be around them? That is a very, very hard question to answer, because there is no getting around it. You either want to be around somebody who is like you or not. And the only way you can really get to that question is by asking the hard questions. That is the whole point. We look for answers. Sometimes there aren't any answers. There's just questions. Don't worry about the answer. The answer is not important. The question is, would you want to be around someone who is exactly like you in this moment right now? All your traits. Are you a selfish person? Are you a giving person? Are you an intimidating person? Are you a person who is controlling? Are you manipulative? Are you trustworthy? Are you honorable? Are you loyal? Are you disciplined? Are you a procrastinator? There's no getting around it. You either are those things or you're not. And we know the areas that we have to work on. Everybody has something they need to work on. We all have them. Multiple things. And that's okay to do that. We have to keep asking the questions and not worrying about the answers right now. We focus on the questions, the formula. We're trying to get into a habit, discipline of being the person we would want to be around if we were someone else. If we're in a relationship, you want to be a secure base of reassurance for that person that you are who you say you are. Through consistency, with or without that person, they need to know that you can survive without them. You need to know you can survive without them. We're not guaranteed a person, place, or thing ever in our lives. And we want to be who we want to attract. And if we aren't being congruent with who we are versus what we want to attract, we're just going to attract the same person over and over and over again. The same thing, the same place over and over and over again. Because we're not congruent with what we want in the first place, which is a lot of times not who we are. There's a lot of people out there who are struggling. They do not like who they are, but they want the polar opposite of who they are. How is that possible? You're only going to attract who you are. Because that person is probably not going to want what you have to offer if you're not even happy with yourself. The world is changing. It's faster, it's more complex, it's more connected than ever. Yet at the same time, we feel a lot of times from the people I talk to, and even with myself, you feel disconnected more than ever. Things don't make as much sense, but at the same time, we have all this information right at our fingertips on any device you can pick up. There's information to be learned. There's no excuse not to know something. Yet there's a lot of people out there who don't want to work on anything. I literally just got online and read off to you the traits of narcissistic personality disorder. Anybody can look that up and say, do I have those traits? But we ignore them. And I say we because I did it for a long time. I remember people telling me, I think you have like a narcissistic, some traits there, buddy. You may not be narcissistic, but you may have some traits there. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then when you start to realize, oh, wow, I'm unhappy with myself. I do have a lot of those traits. A lot of that is what sparked my awakening to change. And that is what I'm talking about here. I was not a secure base of reassurance for anybody when I had those traits. When it was about me in a very unhealthy way. It's not self-love, it was selfishness. I didn't serve anyone. I had no right to want anything more than what I had to offer, which wasn't much. But when you grow and you know your timeline and you know you're moving in the right direction, everybody's timeline is different. Once you know, it's very hard to go back. Unless there's some traumatic event that happens, there's PTSD involved, there's abandonment issues involved. Everybody has things that they have to deal with. I certainly have them myself. But if we're working on them and they're focal points, and again, we're asking the right the right questions and not trying to hurry to get to the answer so we can figure out how to get past it. No, bathe yourself in the questions. Stop trying to get out of the damn pool so fast. Enjoy it. It's just a question. And the longer you use that microscope on that question and you figure out who you are truly deep within yourself, mind, body, heart, and soul, now we have some room. We have a canvas. We can start making our outline like we talked about in the previous podcast. We can start changing some things. Nobody says anybody with those traits cannot change them. I did. That is why I read those off. Those traits were me. And I have over time changed them. I have come to understand I don't want to be around someone like I used to be. I don't want to reattract someone like that. I don't want someone in my life that is entitled, that is controlling and manipulative and wants everything to be their way or the highway. There's nothing fun about that. It's exhausting. I don't want to be with someone who's taking and never giving. I don't want someone disrespecting my boundaries and verbally abusive. I don't want someone with an inflated sense of ego. And those are all the things that I used to be. I was miserable. I hadn't figured myself out. I didn't bathe myself in the questions. I didn't lay in the pool long enough to figure anything out. Life helped me figure the things out that I needed to figure out, and I'm so grateful for it. Now I'm able to I'm able to go beyond that, and I can always remember who I was. And now, moving forward, that is the goal. How can I help others identify what I identified in myself, but keep it to myself? Not blaming other people. Not blaming things and places and experiences. We all have had pasts. We've all had traumas and drama and everything you can think of a person can have. We've all had our own stories and things we've been through that have challenged us, but we have made it. We're still here, and we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to be exactly what we want to attract in our lives. The people we want to truly attract in our lives. The things and the places. It works. The work has to be put in. The focus has to be there. It has to be a habit, rituals every single day. Discipline. It has to be maintained. Which is why I say we rise and maintain balance, not just rise and balance. It's always going to have to be this balancing act that has to be readjusted. Sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board, but we have to be very clear and open and honest about who we are. Having no accountability over who we are, what we say to other people, how we treat other people, what we expect from other people, what we take from other people. We don't have the right to do that. The only rights we have with that is to ourselves. We have a right to do whatever we want to ourselves, but when we start affecting other people negatively, and we know it, that's red flag city. It doesn't work. What we want to be are people that give in every sense of the word. And it's as simple as that. We have to trust ourselves enough to know that who we are, flaws and all, because this doesn't mean you have to be perfect. This just means accountability and ownership. And you say, hey, I'm flawed, just like all of you are. And if any of you think you're perfect, there's your flaw right there. So even if you think you're perfect, that's a flaw. Because nobody's perfect. But when we do find who we are, and we're happy with it, and we're not hurting other people, we're not trying to manipulate other people, and we're being genuine, and we're just trying to affect other people positively every single day, it's funny how people show up in your life who are the exact same way. Flawed, but positive people with smiles on their faces. They can have healthy conversations and they don't give a damn if you agree with them or not. They're not trying to take, they're actually giving, which makes you want to give. So you're exchanging. They have a passion and a purpose, and they are supportive. They want you to succeed, even when they have nothing. Those are people who have learned how to be a secure base of reassurance for themselves first and for others. Reassurance. They're reassuring themselves that every single day what they're doing is working because the outcomes are positive. The outcomes are proven. They see it every day. I'm one of them. You feel secure. You feel you have a secure base. And every day you're reassured because you do the same thing every day. You're leading with positivity. You're only attracting and being around the people that you want to be around. People who are positive, truly positive, can communicate. They have empathy. Empathy goes so far. To be able to identify and put yourself in the shoes of other people, no matter who you meet, what age or ethnicity, it doesn't matter. You're able to identify with them, and it's at its core level. You can hear their story. Empathy is so simple. You just have to listen. You have to suspend judgment. You have to want to genuinely be a good person. All this sounds so simple. When life's hitting us very hard, it's hard to do these things. Trust me, I know. But that's where the reassurance comes in. If you're disciplined about being positive and creating your own happiness, and you truly do it every single day, it doesn't matter what the world throws at you. You understand through being grateful, truly grateful, not doing it 50%, being truly grateful for who you are and what you have. Whatever you're going through, you know it's a storm. It is definitely going to pass. And when you get through it, if you've done the work, because again, this isn't about things being handed to us. We have to earn these things. We have to do the work. We have to ask the questions. Whatever darkness we're going through, there's work to be done. Because when I come out of this darkness, I want to be a better person in every area. Mind, body, heart, and soul. And I want to upgrade and augment and do things that I hadn't done before. Essentially, I should feel like a new person. And out of that darkness, you just left the funeral of the person you used to be. That sounds harsh, but that is a way to think of it. You are not the same person you were yesterday anyway. In fact, you weren't the same person you were an hour ago. You might as well just say goodbye to that person. That person doesn't exist anymore. So why not, if we're changing and we're constantly growing, why not start focusing on what we can create? Turning concept into creation. Imagining things and actually making them a reality the best we can. Maybe they're not exactly how we envisioned it, but damn it, if we even get close, how better is that? Again, no one's perfect. Consistency. Really truly being someone, again, that you would admire if you were not you. That you would want to learn from if you were not you. That you would want to fall in love with if you were not you. Would you want to be your own best friend? Would you want to be in a relationship with you? Would you want to do anything with you, work with you? Hard questions to ask. The answers don't matter. You can create your own answers. That's why they don't matter. The outcome is what you make of it. You're asking the question, but the reassurance comes in where you are finding your own answer. And what is that answer? Each of us will come up with a different answer. Each of us will come up with a different formula, but we aren't equations and formulas. Who we are, when it really comes down to, we are who we want to truly be. And if going through life, taking and asking for others to do for you what you would not do for them, if that is your path and you're fine with that, that is your secure base. You're reassuring yourself that you're going to be living through a life that may be very exhausting. But for the rest of us, we choose positivity. We choose joy and happiness. And if no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall. We rise and maintain balance.